Hey everyone, Gaijin Goombah here. Well, we talked about why Decidueye's ghost type, and then we talked about why Incineroar's dark type. So let's wrap up this trinity of Sun and Moon starters with Pokemon's very own prima donna, Primarina.
I have a mighty need!
And yes, that is where this Pokemon gets its name. In 19th century Italy, the lead singer of an opera performance company was referred to as the quote absolute first lady, or prima donna assoluta, or prima donna for short. But like most aspects of popular stardom, it was doomed to become nothing more than a self-inflated term.
I have a problem with the fact that there's no air in here and I'm gonna die. Open the door now.
Don't worry guys, I thought that term came from her too. And as far as the Marina part of the name goes, well, I hope that's self-explanatory. But hey, you didn't click that thumbnail wanting to know more about the intricate back histories of the Italian operatic hierarchy, did ya? You came to learn why this aquatic mistress is fairy type. And there have been quite a few leads you guys have been telling me in the comment section, so let's get right at this. Now, what do we actually know about Primarina and its previous evolutions of Brionne and Popplio? Honestly, not that much. For the first time, Pokemon's website and even the Pokedex entries of these creatures lacks any sort of deep lore to really break down Primarina's inspiration. I mean, based on what I've seen in Popplio and Brionne's site and dex entries, they're basically just performance seals who dance and blow bubbles out their nose. But Primarina's different. Not only do we learn that its final form is a dual type of water and fairy, but we also learn that most if not all of its battle prowess comes from its singing abilities. This is displayed not only in its basic moveset, but more so in its Z-move Oceanic Opera. We can also gather that Primarina is a feminine Pokemon. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that the male-female ratio with Primarina is nearly 90% to 10, and I'd be tickled pink if Primarina was a shout-out to the 90s drag queen road trip movie Priscilla Queen of the Desert. The names are close enough. God, can you imagine Hugo Weaving collecting gym badges with Primarina on his way to Alice Springs to perform a musical drag show?
I'm about to make my Northern Territories debut, looking like a Warner Brothers cartoon character has hit me over the head with an iron.
I think you look more like a Disney witch myself.
Oh, shut your face, Felicia. Yes, I don't look like somebody's tried to open a can of beans with my face.
I'm sorry, girls. I couldn't stand the thought of you bagging me in the bus for 2 weeks. Anyway, what difference does it make now?
I'd watch that. Either way, gender identification aside, it's very obvious that this Pokemon was designed with feminine traits in mind. So now we have our clues. Fairy type, water type, a focus on effeminate traits, and a seemingly magical power behind its voice. And already I'm sure several mythical creatures come to mind. But let's start off with the most popular theory, Primarina being based off of sirens. Daughters of Achelous, Greek god of water, sirens are absolutely enchanting creatures who predominantly take on the form of a beautiful and oftentimes nude woman. They use their exquisite voice and charming instrument playing to lure sailors to shipwreck on the rocky coves and islands where they make their home. One such example comes from Homer's Odyssey. While passing through the grounds of sirens, Odysseus was curious to hear what the sirens were actually singing about. He had his men wear earplugs and had Odysseus tied to the mast to prevent him from being overtaken by the siren song. Because as soon as Odysseus did hear that song, he demanded to be untied so he could jump into the ocean after him. But his men, true to their word, kept him tied and safe until they were out of siren territory. While a siren's greatest weapon is its voice and technically are sea-fae just like Primarina, they're actually designed after birds more than marine life. In early Greek artwork and pottery, Odysseus' encounter with the sirens showed them as being half bird, half woman with no connection to sea creatures in their design. While artists like Herbert James Draper depicted sirens as being half beautiful woman, half marine animal, that trait actually belongs to another similar water fae, mermaids. Another theory many of you have been telling me is that Primarina's design is actually rooted in mermaid culture, and that doesn't seem like such a far-fetched theory. After all, it seems like each culture in the entire world has their own stories of mermaids in their folklore. Whether it be Mermaid, Marrow, Undine, or Julinar, mermaid culture is global and dates as far back as 1000 BCE in Syria. Now that covers 2 of the 3 clues relating to Primarina, water fae and feminine beauty, but what about the last clue, song? Well, that unfortunately has a rather negative connotation when it comes to mermaids. European folklore stated that the presence of mermaids was a terrible omen at best and a massive attack at worst. While this could be an evolution of the above-mentioned sirens, it was believed that mermaids would lure sailors to the edge of their boats with not only their beauty, but song, and either enchant them to jump in or physically drag them into the water where they would be drowned. I guess too, if you want to get really absurd, Game Freak's home of Japan has always had a massive fascination with Disney, and god, they popularized the idea of singing mermaids to extravagant levels. Yes, I'll admit, the idea of Primarina being based off of mermaids is very strong. Both are fairy creatures with an affinity for the ocean, both use singing as a supernatural ability, and both are modeled after one part marine life, one part beautiful female. But there's just something that's really bugging me, guys. Aside from its fin tail, there's little else that really ties Primarina to mermaids, at least from a design standpoint. I mean, when was the last time you saw a mermaid with a snout? Granted, manatees were often confused for mermaids by European Caribbean explorers, but I'm just not 100% sold on Primarina being rooted in mermaid culture. There's just still too much physically different. I mean, even the popular Pokemon information sites like Bulbapedia claims that Primarina isn't pure mermaid, but half mermaid, half sea lion. But does such a creature exist? A water fae creature that is one part seal and one part extraordinarily beautiful lady? You better believe there is! Selkies. A sea fairy hailing from Celtic folklore, in the water Selkies are completely indistinguishable from everyday seals. However, they have the ability to remove its skin like a coat, revealing a stunningly beautiful woman underneath. In this form, the Selkie was capable of human speech and was allowed to dwell up on land for up to 7 years. But being beautiful, enchanting women, many men sought them out as wives. Over time, Selkie wives would grow more and more homesick for their ocean homes as seals. And after the 7-year period, they would have to abandon their husbands and children and return to the sea once again. But they would forever continue to watch over them from the ocean. But some men though would actually steal the seal coat of the Selkie and force them into marriage. Many folk stories tell tales of Selkie wives living miserable lives, constantly trying to find their coat so they could return to the ocean. No matter how her husband may try to please her, should she find it, she will immediately abandon her husband and any children without a second thought. So bam, water fairy, beautiful woman, and seal-like appearance. But what does singing have to do with Selkies? More than you might think. In basic folklore, homesick Selkies are known to sit for hours on the coast and sing songs of their longing to return to the sea, while Selkies who are happily wed to sailors will often sing to them off the coast to guide them back home safely. But the final piece of this massive puzzle comes from a 2014 movie called Song of the Sea. I can't say for certain how detailed and specific Song of the Sea goes when it comes to Selkie folklore, but from everything I've researched, it goes pretty dang deep. The story revolves around a young Irish boy named Ben who discovers that not only his mother, but mute baby sister, Saoirse, are Selkies. The fairies of the world are being turned to stone and disappearing, so it's up to Ben and Saoirse to find her seal coat so she can find her voice, and with the power of her song, she can reawaken the Fae. Let me say that again. Her song brings Fae to life. See, there's one last thing about Primarina that originally I thought had little to do with its cultural roots, but is actually incredibly important. Its ability to create and control enchanted moonlight bubbles with its singing. All throughout this movie, I kept seeing this. Yeah, that's a Selkie girl using the power of song to bring to life and influence bubbles of Fae light. According to the movie, it was a song passed down by her mother and her mother before her, and wait a sec, what did the Dex entry say about Primarina's song? It was passed down from one generation to the next. And what does Primarina's song do? Create and influences bubbles accented by light, creating a magical scene? Nope, totally not similar. Not similar at all. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. The idea of Primarina being based on Selkies is just too perfect. The water aspects, the fairy aspects, the half seal, half beautiful female design, the singing, the bubbles, it all fits beautifully into place. But don't just take my word for it, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're thinking of your own ideas for Primarina's origins, let me give a quick shout out to this episode's supportive sponsor, Loot Anime. By supporting them, you'll also be supporting my ability to create content exactly the way I want to without having to completely sell out to trends and clickbait. Through their monthly subscription service for less than $20, you get 6 to 8 licensed anime items worth twice the price sent right to your front door, and each box has its own unique theme. My Loot Anime box theme of Delicious came with exclusives like Food Wars Kuma Bear cosplay apron, Gurintama plush, Naruto bowl, Sweetness and Lightning Volume 1, Umaru-chan figure, and the delicious phone charm. And this month's theme of Galaxy promises unique swag from Robotech, Space Patrol Luluco, Cowboy Bebop, and Sailor Moon. So don't miss out! Head on over to lootcrate.com/Goombah3 and input the code Goombah3 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Offer ends December 27th, 9 p.m. Pacific. But if you're looking for even more culture and gaming, be sure to subscribe to never miss out on a single new video. I always have something coming down the pipeline. But if you can't wait, click those annotations and links in the description for even more videos. But until next time everyone, this is Gaijin Goombah, signing out.